As little as 4 years ago, trying to find a rental property in St. John's wasn't quite so stressful. But with the city's vacancy rate the lowest it's been in the last decade, being a tenant these days is tough. These numbers show what percentage of rental units are on the market. Any vacancy rate under 3% is considered a rental shortage, which the city officially entered last year. That's despite the city's number of private rentals actually going up, about 400 more units since 2020. I spoke with a renter who's facing eviction this fall. She said apartment hunting has become like a second job. She sent out more than 100 requests to view an apartment, but only ever set foot into one. That's because the demand and the competition is so stiff these days. It's a story that rental advocate Sherwin Flight has been hearing a lot lately.
It's getting harder and harder for people to find a place. We saw in the past, if we went back, say maybe 3 or 4 years ago, the majority of the posts in those groups would be landlords offering places for rent and then tenants commenting underneath that they were interested. These days that has kind of flipped. Most of the posts are landlords or are tenants looking for places, desperately looking for places. That word comes up a lot these days, and very few landlords commenting underneath with anything to offer.
Flight has his finger on the pulse of the rental market, but can't really say what has changed.
That's probably the $1,000,000 question. I think it's a lot of different things. We tend to see a lot of, international students, different times of year. But we've always had international students. I don't know if the numbers have increased. We did see during the pandemic a lot of people online saying that they felt safer in Newfoundland, so we're moving back home. People that were living in other parts of the country over the last couple of years have sort of made their way back home. And I don't think housing stock has really, kept pace with the need.
Flight says more policies to incentivize landlords could create more rental properties. In the long term, the city is handing out fee breaks to developers and grants to homeowners looking to convert their property into rental housing, but that's not going to happen overnight.
This was probably a situation many years in the making. We're just at a point now where it's impossible to deny, the situation that we're in. Some people call it a housing crisis. I'm inclined to agree, but this didn't happen overnight.
Malone Mullen, CBC News, St. John's.